40 degrees Celsius. How does that impact the archers who we're going to be seeing in this bronze medal mixed team match?
It's huge. I mean, our feet were on fire. I mean, there was times we were like trying to do anything we can. In fact, we actually went and found some ice cream and stuff before we shot just to try and keep the body temperature down a little bit. I mean, it's hot out there. There's nothing forgiving about it at all. It is just, and that blue carpet does nothing but track a little extra heat for you. So looks beautiful, but man, it's warm.
That is what the archers from Italy will have to contend with today in the mixed team bronze medal match. Italy, the number 6 team coming out of qualifying, and Italy taking a 2-point tiebreaker from Mexico in the 1/8 round. They stopped Slovenia by 4, shot a world record score of 160, then fell by 2 to Colombia. Talking, of course, about Marcella Tonioli and Federico Pagnoni. Those two with a world record score of 160, a perfect score. They may need a perfect score here today. We'll find out as they take on France. The French team beating Russia by 2 this week, the USA by 4, and then losing to Great Britain by 1. Sébastien Peynaud being joined by the 19-year-old Amélie Sansonneau, who is ranked 16th in the world. Sébastien Peynaud is ranked 8th in the world. Of course, in mixed team competition, we've got 2 athletes. Obviously, 1 male, 1 female archer per country. Competition plays out over 4 ends, 2 arrows per archer in each end. So each team will take a total of 16 shots to decide the winner, and once again, the total points determine the final outcome. Now in Shanghai in stage 1, it was Russia handily defeating Malaysia 155 to 141. Then about a month ago in Colombia, in Medellin, it was France defeating the USA by 1. And we'll find out in just a few moments how this match is going to go. France versus Italy, number 6 versus number 13. And Marcella Tonioli first up to the shooting line.
And super, as a woman, one of the better women around. I mean, she's been around a while and won a lot of events. So confidence in having probably been on this stage is going to be good for her.
I was going to say, what are her strengths? What do you see in her?
Like I said, she's been around a long time. She's, won a lot of stuff. And she's done very well in mixed team. I mean, she's a world champion in the mixed team. I know her and Sergio won in Italy. And so she's got the confidence in knowing that if her partner holds their end up, they're going to do well. But it's out there, the wind's a little tricky today. I mean, we've got, just like I talked to a gentleman just a little bit ago, Greg Easton and I were talking. It's weird because usually here, the wind comes in from the water. And today, and I believe a lot of it is because of the heat, we're getting some temperatures, the wind's coming down off the hill.
That's what we noticed as well this morning. It seemed to be blowing out towards the water.
Yeah, it's a little different than we've ever seen out here. In fact, you can see right here, all the arrows were off to the right. Both France and Italy both missed all out to the right. So it's a little different wind than we've seen here, so it'll be see who can pick up the quickest to get there.
A 9 for Tonioli on her first shot, as well as Pagnoni. Made the adjustment.
Yep, maybe a little more overcompensated than she wanted, but still hung 10 on the left.
The 30-year-old Tonioli, ranked 19th in the world, averaging 9.4 per arrow, comes in with 52 wins on her resume, 5 of those in shoot-offs. And Pagnoni with the first 10.
They both picked up on it really quick, realized that was taking them out to the right. And like I said, it's really weird because if you've shot on that venue before, you know that it's always come out from the water in. But we've never been here to be this warm.
Of course, Pagnoni shot this morning in team competition. And so did Sébastien Peynaud.
Sebastian picked up on it too.
Doesn't take long.
No.
Amélie Sansonneau, averaging 9.4 points per arrow, puts it in the 9 ring. So an early lead for Italy, 38-36. But not an insurmountable lead by any stretch of the imagination.
With the weather and the wind, a couple points here or there can be not enough to get by.
How do you get a good grip on the bow? I mean, everybody's sweating. It's really hot. I've got to imagine that's somewhat of an issue.
It can be. A lot of us have figured out that we wrap ours with tennis racket grip tape. You see it on a bunch of the guys' bows and different people. Actually it adds another color to it, so a guy can dress it up a little differently, but I do. I mean, you can see it on Tolioni's bow. She has yellow on there. Most of us have done this long enough that we've learned that even even as hot as it is out there, we usually sweat anyway because we get nervous, palm sweat, everybody sweats. And so you've kind of come up with ways to help hold your bow without having it slip or slide around. And because, I mean, that can slip pretty easy.
Yeah, you got to get a good grip.
Yeah, that aluminum on there can be pretty slick with a little extra sweat. And today there's definitely extra sweat.
Supposed to be 100 degrees today here in Antalya, Turkey, 40 degrees Celsius, approximately.
And I've heard that it's going to be hotter tomorrow for the recurve.
Ah, lovely. As if the heat isn't on enough. Although
yes.
a lot of that pressure for a lot of those recurve archers is off now that we know who's qualified and who is going to Rio.
Yeah, very much so.
5.
Yeah, that was a big part of why a lot of people were here. Sebastian Gonzaga, the 10.
Over 500 archers coming. It's a record for Antalya, Turkey. And I would say about 75–80% of them were recurve archers.
Yes.
Last chance to try to get to Rio, and it was here in Antalya.
Yeah, they all brought their A games and their big support.
First
to the right, again to the right.
Right, first real slip of the match. Amelie Sansano, who won her first World Cup medal in Shanghai this year, a mixed team gold medal. Captured a silver medal in mixed team in Copenhagen last year at the World Championships. And now Pagnoni.
And it's hard to fight against that wind. I mean, you see everybody missing. They're missing out the right side. I mean, you know, it's one of them deals. Do you play it so you're strong on the left side, and if you miss, you're going to be on the left side, or do you let it, you know?
Well, it's all a guessing game, really, when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
And that guessing game is influenced by the experience that you've acquired over 10, 15, 20 years, trying to gauge those winds and figure out how to make that adjustment.
Oh, agreed. It's very, very much so. It's a guessing game of points.
4, 3.
What, an 8 from
Allez, Amélie.
Sebastian.
Guessed wrong.
That's not making a pretty tough deal to deal with there for the French. I mean, it's given the Italians a pretty healthy lead.
Sansano trying to respond, comes back, gets it just inside the line for a 9. But right now, France with a score of 35 in this end, total score of 71. They were trailing 38-36 and Tonioli.
So the 8 doesn't hurt as bad where they've got a couple of 9s, but
even so.
Yeah, it doesn't help, that's for sure. And we'll see how the weather holds. I mean, if the 8's not as big a deal, I mean, we haven't seen a ton of 10s yet, so.
There's one.
And he has a little bit of an advantage. He was out here earlier this morning against us, and so he's kind of dealt with it, I think. I think that's an advantage totally, because I think he's got 1 9 and 3 10s, if I'm right off my memory serves me right. So I think that's a big advantage. I mean, people can say all they want. It's a huge advantage to have been out on the field before. You know,
you get the lay of the land, you get the sight, the way everything looks and feels and sounds.
Yep, 100% I agree. I think it's just, people don't realize. They don't realize what it's like it's like, to me, put your feet in the water. You stick them in, it's like, oh my gosh, it's cold at first. But once you've had them in there and you've learned, it's a little easier.
So in other words, if you haven't been out here before and you come out for the first time, it's kind of a shock to the system.
Yep, 100%. 100% agree.
By the way, congratulations on the gold medal with the men's team this morning.
Oh, thanks.
Strong performance by the United States.
It's fun. We have a pretty deep pool to draw from. You know, I mean,
I'd say so, yeah.
I mean, Alex was at home, and we brought in Bridger, and I mean, we don't miss a beat. So it's been pretty good. I mean, we have been a successful team for a long time.
Had success in Medellin.
Yeah.
Had Alex Wiffler on that team, Steve Anderson on that team, and today Braden Gellantine and Bridger Deaton. The Killer Bees.
Yeah.
The Badger, Bridger, and Braden.
Yeah.
That's about all I got.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That's the best I can come up with today. I'm sorry, Rio.
Oh, that works for me. This heat, there's not a lot that wants to work today.
75-71, a 4-point lead for Italy here in the mixed team bronze medal match. Sebastian Penos
starts it off.
Trying to start a comeback.
When she can hold her own and put it in the middle, it definitely will put a little pressure on, you know, especially where there have been 9s and 8s shot. A good looking shot, but it's an 8 right.
drifted on her out to the red ring.
C'est 8 droite. Vas-y, vas-y.
Only 19 years old.
And she's pretty composed. During the qualification round, she actually broke her rest, and I watched them take it off and put a whole different rest on it, and it was pretty amazing that she scored every arrow that end. I was very impressed.
Marcella.
The 9.
Tonioli came in here on a good roll, picked up an individual and a team bronze medal at stage 2 in Medellin. And she was teamed up with Sergio Pagni a couple of years ago. Those two were unbeatable.
Yeah, it was hard. I know that.
Almost unbeatable.
Yeah, we got them at the World Games. Me and Erica did, and she told me that was the only time she'd ever been on a mixed team that she'd ever won, beat them. So.
It was tough.
Yep.
They were a dominant duo for quite some time. Now teamed up with Federico Pagnoni and doing well again.
Right there at 10.
Sansano finds the center.
C'est bien, c'est tiré, c'est tout. Après, si allez, mon petit dromadaire.
And now Marcella. Won a mixed team silver medal at the 2013 World Cup Finals in Paris. So she's been on the big stage, as you said before, Rio.
Yeah, I mean.
No substitute for that experience.
No, like I said, she's a world champion. Her and Sergio won it in Italy, so. You know, there's not a lot of people in the world that can say they're a world champion. That's a pretty select bunch.
So Marcella, who has already qualified for the World Cup Finals in Denmark in September, as has Rio Wild. You already know that you're going.
Yeah.
Nice to be able to make those plane reservations ahead of time.
Yeah, it's funny because we look at where they usually are, the World Cup Finals, and me and my wife discuss whether who's going or if she wants to go to this place or that place. And it's funny because she said that she wanted to go to this one. Well, she didn't at first. And she texted me the other night when she realized I'd made it. She says, well, I kind of would like to go now.
Yeah, Denmark sounds pretty good.
Yeah, so she's like, is that okay? Is that okay? So now I got to I told my little brother I was going to take him, so now I'm going to tell him I'm taking the wife now. So just got to figure out who we're going to let watch the kids. That's where we're at right now. But
that's a good problem to have.
It is. And making the World Cup Finals, I think is very, in a lot of countries they underestimate it. In the U.S., I think. I mean, you look at me and Brady, we've been there 7 times. But there's a lot of countries that don't even put a person in there.
Right.
You know, and so like the U.S., I think they don't appreciate it as much as, you know, like we do. I know what kind of work it takes, especially like we talked about it being 3 tournaments this year.
Sure.
I had a rough start. I mean, I had a guy who showed a one-off perfect in China and knocked me out in the first round. So it made the rest of the year more crucial. And which I'm not sure who's going to the World Cup Finals in the mixed team, to be honest.
Still to be sorted out.
Yeah.
And part of that sorting out process going on right now. There's a 6-point advantage for Italy to start the fourth and final end.
Ouais, super bien tiré.
Yeah, 2 10s to start. It definitely puts some pressure on.
Sense of urgency for the French team right now, trying to get back into this match, doing what they can and hoping they'll have an opportunity. Not likely, though, with Marcella Tonioli and Federico Pagni keeping them in the yellow.
Well, you're talking about two people that have a lot of experience, you know. Not giving a lot of anything away.
No.
I mean, it was like us this morning. We got 5 points, and the biggest thing was just no stupid mistakes. And with their lead, that's kind of the same thing. Just don't do anything dumb.
Well, so far, every one of their shots has been in the gold rings. France has had 4 end up in the 8 ring. So they have not been as consistent as the Italian team.
No, and I think the young gals had a couple of arrows that have been out there, and I think goes back to experience. You know, I mean, you see, she shot 2 10s now to finish the last 2. It's just like I said, a lot of it is getting out there and getting the experience. I mean, Sebastian was out there earlier with the French team, and so it's.
And you really can't hesitate in making some adjustments and changes. When you see something, you have to make an adjustment
Quickly,
very
yes,
quickly, because the match can get away from you.
In a heartbeat, especially in the compound division because points are so tight. I mean, we look at qualification. I mean, I was 11th and Braden was 5th or 6th, and we were 2 points apart. I mean, you're talking huge tight. So.
And there's your winner. Italy brings it home. After taking a 2-point lead in the first end, they expand that lead out to 4 midway through the match, built it up to 6 after 3 ends, and they wind up winning by a score of 153 to 147. So they were far from perfect, which they were earlier in the week.
Yes, they were. They did something that I haven't seen ever done before. It was pretty impressive.
World record.
Yeah. And I don't think today with the weather we got, I don't think you're going to see a lot of perfect scores.
But what they did was what we were talking about, Rio. They kept it in the yellow rings, the 9s and 10s. I don't see a single 8 on the sheet. Not one single 8.
Avoid the big mistakes.
Right.
When it's really windy or there's a wind out there, the biggest thing is you just don't want to make the mistake. You know, I mean, earlier this year we were talking, I did an interview, and me and Mikey Sostner faced each other for the gold medal in Arizona Cup. And